Ahoy and welcome back, every folk at home joining us at the LCO desk. It is I, Papa Pike, joined with Skimmy and Tally, your infamous duo, heading into this beautiful upper bracket finals that we are all so excited for. Can't even hold it in a little bit. I'm starting to get that voice back. I'm getting the excitement happening, but we're watching a good series tonight. It's another series you have to be watching, and it's at a new location, guys. Let's have a quick look and shout out !watch party as we're all heading out to Fortress. Sadly, we won't be, but you should, as it is the place to be next week on Monday, 5:30 p.m. !watch party in chat. We'll be able to give you all the details, get those tickets, and make sure you're there. I believe Carbon's going, Tally. He might be there.
Ooh. That'd be very nice. Little
That's incentive.
Surprise visit. Incentive from a Carbon, drop ship.
Who knows what could happen, honestly? Who knows? But that is going to be the place to be if you want to watch us on the big screen. I don't know what sort of screens, like TVs you guys have, but mine's all right. It's okay.
Just a monitor.
Nothing crazy.
Don't have a TV.
Gets the job done.
Yeah.
GG.
I sit at a desk and I just hope for the best. But no, we have a big series tonight, but before we even get into it, we have to thank one team that has been knocked out, Skimmy, and it is Ion. Let's watch back at yesterday's games, which was their last series. Take it out by Antic. Let's jump into it.
Engaged in by Coley with the flash pounce on towards Raze, but it is his demise. He does fall on down. Fronis says, you know what, I can go to the afterlife and still be impactful. Jovi teeping in topside, drops to Requiem. Bunny Hop resets with these rocket jumps, looking at Draku and says, you've got the ultimate, do you want to pop it? Yes, you will. Pulverize doesn't deny it. Triple kill now for Styx. Tavares is coming online and nearly, and they do get it in the end. But he just stands and holds and then says, watch, I've got Draku, his old supportive team member, locks in place that Camille. And Destiny now is dominating. Nature's Grasp guarantees that he's hunting for a second, and that's what he'll get. Double kill for the Kaiser. Next one on the chopping block is Fronet to take down Hex Flash. Triple then for Destiny, but it's Antic inside your base, having already taken down one inhibitor. They're going to take you down as well. They've taken two, looking for a third. Thankfully, Jovi finds something and is able to remove Destiny, claiming a big bounty of gold. And Styx just be space guarding. Yeah, as you say already, so hard to outplay, but it's going to get whittled down. Styx acting like a support here, just making sure that Doraemon can keep running forward, but he dies! Draku claims it, Raze turns around and says, why are we running? And he just killed them all.
I mean, it's not a competition. I already know I've got more kills than him. This guy sucks at AD carry.
Now that you've knocked out Styx, we need you to now carry the baton of doing some crazy dances or something at the end. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you dance for me?
Boomba!
Oh!
That's the Draku's Draku's banned off Kragas on our team.
It doesn't help that the dance was not only requested, but he had the hat on to back it up as well, which just made that infinitely perfect. And the pajamas, Skimmy.
Look, I tell you what, it's always business in the top and casual down beneath. I mean, actually, look, I'm wearing pants today, so look, we're business all over. But sometimes you got the shorts on, sometimes not even the socks on. You know, sometimes we're just getting super cruisy at home, and that's what the players do. We've had the bathrobes, we've had everything.
Look, and we've started to scrub up. Sadly, Tally didn't have the cool bomber jacket or anything, but we decided to jack it up a little bit. It's okay, Tally. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. I think you're looking fantastic. You're looking beautiful.
I'm comfy.
Bit of green in there, suits your eyes. But no, let's have a quick look at our bracket as it stands so we can break down how these teams have progressed through as we get closer and closer to those finals. We are in the upper bracket finals tonight, which is Ground Zero versus Team Bliss. We did see yesterday that it was Antic 2-0ing Ion, which has moved them up into the lower bracket finals. Whoever loses tonight, Tally, is going to be facing off against them.
Yeah, and I think tonight is finally that big series we've all been waiting for. You know, we these are our two best teams, right? And we haven't really had that best of series with a clear winner yet. So really nice that this is going to be our first best of 5 with our two best teams in the league. And I'm excited to see if Ground Zero will finally be pushed to, you know, show a different style.
Well, that's what we'll have to hope for. We'll have to see, because both these teams, the Ground Zero and Team Bliss, did 2-0 their previous counterparts that they versed, so they're feeling very confident with where they're sitting right now. We'll have to see how that's going to look, though, as we get through to this best of 5 now, Skimmy. We are in best of 5s from here on out.
That's exactly right. Yeah, only best of 5s to play for. All these games having PCS qualifying implications, so whoever wins tonight is the first team we'll send to Tier 1, which is, yeah, pretty exciting.
So exciting. Now, quickly, guys, just real quick. Can you tell what? Hold on, I forgot the right side. What's this picture behind me? Well, here. Yeah, that's right. You don't know because we got a champion conundrum where we're gonna be guessing pictures. Let's just jump into it.
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could read you? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
Yes, it is Guess That Champion. It's something that we did in the very first week, and I think, Tally, I think you might have had the best score, if I recall correctly. I think you just nailed like almost every single one, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
No jacket equals the win.
Duh.
Well, let's just jump straight into the first one so we can guess what champion it is. Yes, we will be looking at the skin line. Oh, Zeri.
Is
that Zeri?
I don't know why I think this is a Yasuo skin.
Or is it Master Yi?
Oh yeah, it's Master.
Oh, Debonair Brand.
Debonair Aphelios? Debonair Draven?
Debonair Yi. It could be
Debonair Draven.
He's got a sword.
Yeah, it's
Aphelios.
You got it.
It's a reveal. I still don't know.
Master Yi.
Is it
Oh,
Master
it
Yi?
is.
Yes.
Ah.
I got so baited. I thought it was like
Yi.
Draven.
Oh, it is. Master Yi. Oh, yeah, cool. Well, you know what? Don't worry about it, guys. We're all good.
I love
Well
the
done, Tally.
hesitation on the reveal. We're like, we still don't know.
Yeah. It's a new skin line. We know Tally even said new skin line. Oh, what the hell?
Ooh.
Lilia.
No.
Is it Lilia or is it like an Ivern?
We're gonna throw random. It's gonna be random Ionian gem.
Lulu.
It's a plant.
Ari.
Ari.
Dynasty Ari.
Dynasty Ari.
Ari.
Yep. Instantly saw the hands. I know
Yeah.
those hands anywhere, anytime. Don't worry about it. Don't ask me how I know. That's hard. Those men. Yeah.
See, I reckon.
Let's go to the next one so we can ignore my weird comment just then. And let's have a look. What?
A hat.
Jin.
No. Is it Jin? It's
Jin from
it's
the hat?
High Noon. It's a
Like High Noon
skin.
Jin?
I don't, are you sure
High
it's the
Noon Senna?
High Noon skin? Are you sure?
Is this High Noon
I'm
Yasuo?
baited by the hat.
Or is it Yone?
Oh, Senna. No? Isn't it the Senna skin where she rides the horse?
Doesn't Ash also ride the horse?
There's a lot of
True.
horse skins.
Ah!
Oh, it's Caitlyn.
Caitlyn.
Officer Caitlyn.
Sheriff
Oh,
Caitlyn.
Sheriff Caitlyn.
Sheriff
sorry. Yeah.
Caitlyn.
Oh, wait, that's changed though. That's been updated when they did her rework. Because remember the old one, it was slightly different.
Yeah, but the hat.
I know these things.
You're thinking about the hat champ.
The hat, though.
We saw hands. No, let's jump to the next one, which is pretty cool. I like that skin. That's very
That's a
quite
nice-
stunning.
Oh, this is a
What?
This is a Arcane
Dawn?
champ.
Arcane.
Jace?
Jinx from Arcane.
Yeah, Jinx skin, surely.
Is it Jinx from Arcane or is it Vi?
Let's just chuck out names. Jinx, Heimerdinger.
There's the Echo one. The Echo one.
Echo.
Blitzcrank.
Don't.
Blitzcrank.
Nah,
Caitlyn,
well, he hasn't been official.
Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank, yeah.
What? Rusty.
Scamming
No,
is so good.
Victorious.
Hey, it'll be one of them, boys. It'll be one of them.
Oh, look, we got there. Wait,
We sure
did you
did.
just steal that teddy bear though? That's a bit rough. Let's not even worry about Victoria. That's not victorious at all.
Oh.
Kaisa, Belveth.
Darius.
That's Karthus Lichbane.
No, this is got to be like Evelyn or something. It's a random throw.
I think
It's like
Karthus
Demon
Lichbane.
Darius skins or something, I swear, man.
Could be
Soul stealing.
Viego.
It's Ari.
Kindred.
It's
Swain?
Ari, no?
Is this not Kindred?
Yeah. So the
He's
soul
Ari.
stealing. Okay, I got thrones because it's like why
Right.
would
See
there
your
be two
hands.
Ari skins? But
I thought the same, like, why would we get the same champion twice, but they got us.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's sneaky. It's again newer skin.
They're
Don't know
clever.
these things. We have the last one
They're good.
ready for you, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Space Groove.
Nunu. Space
Gwen.
Nunu.
Blitzcrank. They wouldn't do it twice, would
When
Will they do it twice?
they? They wouldn't do it twice.
or
Space
is
Nunu,
it,
Space Gragas, Disco Gragas,
oh, is it Samira? Is it Samira?
Disco Samira?
Twisted Fate. Space Group Twisted Fate.
We're so like we have no confirmed answers.
Akshan.
Disco-
Akshan.
yeah,
Cyberpop.
it is Akshan.
Cyberpop
That's the
Akshan.
futuristic one.
Ah.
That's sneaky though.
What I'm pretty sure you
going
just smurfed on us, Telly. Like,
you
I think me and Pi were just chucking out names, and you were like, yeah.
You know, see that? I just paid attention to the backgrounds. Like, I saw the soldiers. I'm like, okay, it's Ionia. The Ari skin was like, oh, there's not going to be two Ari skins in a row, but it was.
Yeah. No, it was a clickbait there because like that looked like Evelyn, like Karthus as well. Like it's very esque of those champions, whereas like the guys on the ground, he's obviously had either a really good time or a really bad time, depending on which champion I just mentioned. So it's like, you don't know how that's going to play out, but then Kavanari. Crazy.
Pike, have you ever seen the skin? This is one of my favorite bit of content pieces that one of the players did, where it was, who was it? Was it yourself and Raisin Tapoon? Was it you three?
No, it was, I think it was Mia.
It was Arthur, yeah. And then they're like, all right, so what's the skin? And Tapoon's like, oh, I don't know what it is in English. She's like, all right, set in Korean. Oh, I don't know in Korean either. She's like, so you don't know it at all, bro? It was so good. One of my favorite clips. You have to find it after this.
Yeah, I need to see it. I don't think I've seen it. I want to see
so
it.
Good.
But there's something else we need to focus on real quick, guys. Something big.
Okay.
Something almost like LCO level changing. It is today's match. We need to break it down a little bit and talk about Ground Zero versus Bliss. We've had our fun. Now it's time to focus up, because these are our top 2 teams, Tally.
Yeah, absolutely, and these are the teams we really have been our top contenders. A lot of people have put them, 1-2 to take the entire split. We are discounting the regular season. We're gonna say whoever wins the finals will be the final, seed placements for those rankings that we did. So I'm excited about tonight's match. I think that Bliss has shown really good form recently, especially Harry, and I think that the counterpart to Ground Zero, where they have been showing really good form, their weakness in these past playoffs games has been in the mid lane. In Fido, I think he's been having these rough games and being exposed a bit. And I think if Harry does step up today, he could be that difference for that, Bliss win.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at these rosters, though, Skimmy, as well. Let's have a look at Ground Zero first off. Hasn't changed the roster the whole time, besides Evelyn subbing out every once in a while. But this team is very undeniable. Lemus has had an outstanding performance. I think Kurak as well has been one of the top support champions we've seen as well. Like you said, Tally, I think Fido's maybe the only, not even a weak link, is like maybe just like almost the tiniest kink in the chain, but I don't think that's a huge problem because the team's been so supportive. But up against Harry and this Bliss roster, Skimmy, it's going to be a big uphill battle, because Bliss, although they had not necessarily a rough start to the split, I think it was just that loss to Ground Zero that sort of shaked them a little bit. Outside of that, this team has also been flawless. Yeah,
those are the only 2 losses they had up against Ground Zero, and it's worth mentioning that, back then they actually were in the lead. And then somehow threw it all away. So you can see in this situation, Schönfire 0-5, not a very familiar spot for him to be in, whereas Kevy, on a very much Feast of Famine champion in the Nidley, was able to get so far ahead. Both these teams coming in on an 8-game win streak, so certainly at their peak potential, and that's exactly where you want it to be coming into playoffs, right? You really want that high-octane gameplay to showcase why they are the best 2, and the best of 5 to justify. Get a bit of clarity and conclusion, as opposed to a best of 2, we walk away, who is still the better team, and a best of 3 where you don't get enough time to really showcase that drafting diversity. So I'm really keen to see what they have in store for us today. Obviously, you can see on this occasion, it was like a Zac top, we had the Nasus, the Amumu, and I'm really hoping that we get a lot more of these creative picks to try and offset the meta. I'm sure in particular yourself, you really want to see supports veer away from this Leona, veer away from the Nautilus. Whilst we've seen it a little bit from other players, be it the Braum, the Alistar, or even the Nami, surely there's room for even more champions.
I'm a big fan, but they keep banning out my Yone, which you can see there on this beautiful graphic. But Tally, tell us more about these 2 teams, because that's a lot of firsts I'm seeing.
I think what you can really take away from this graphic is, they both had really dominating performances in their last series, up, in those best of 3s. But I think the main thing we're going to see in the story of this series is going to be how Ground Zero does not prioritize objectives. They only really care about the grubs because Shern wants to get his experience as a jungler. But when it comes to these dragons, they do not care. They're always going to play to the side lane, play to get golden experience, steal away camps, trade towers, and play the overall wallet gap game. But Bliss, that team, gonna group up on these objectives, love playing around that bowling priority, getting these early dragons stacking, and we might see this game really come down to that soul point flip where Ground Zero does have that golden experience lead, but Bliss does have that win condition in the dragon.
I think that's the big thing I'm excited for too, is you mentioned that Bliss is going to be looking to make those early team fights. They want to get aggressive and sort of force Ground Zero out of their comfort zone. I think we have seen Ground Zero up against some really tough opponents. We haven't seen them break that comfort zone yet. I think that's the one thing you said to me just before we even went live, Tally, is that we haven't seen Ground Zero push their limits to the absolute max. We've seen them play exceptionally. Their team fights are always good, but we haven't seen them go to that next level, which we're really hoping for them to do. So maybe this is the series tonight. We're in the best of 5. There's nothing to hold them back. Maybe this is where they're going to really step up and say, hey, Bliss, you're a threat. It's time for us to really go Giga Chad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at Ground Zero's playstyle, right? They've been doing the same thing the entire regular season and the first game of playoffs. As Bliss, you see that, you've had over 7 weeks to prepare and answer for what this, one-dimensional playstyle that they have been doing this entire time. So that is the time to pull out in game 1. It is the time to, prepare the draft that you think is really good into this comp and make sure that if you do pick it up game 1, all of a sudden, Ground Zero are like, okay, we have to change. Maybe Shone can't play AP junglers. Maybe we need to get Fighter back on his, comfort style, which is those mages. We always think of Fighter being a really good AD carry mid player, but I know him as this really strong, control mage player. He's really good at the Vegas, really good at stuff like the Vex, the Casio, like the Rise. He just hasn't really been unleashed yet. And I think that, if it is going to come down to some variety in these games, we might just see that mid jungle, dynamic of Ground Zero swap up.
That also begs the question as well, Skimmy, do you think the draft and the ban phase is going to be a bit different just purely because there is going to probably be a lot more comfort picks going into these 2 games because they're going to ban out the high priority champions, of course. But does that mean we're going to see some very unique, like the Cassiopeia as well for Fighter? Is this something you could expect?
It's a curious case, right? Because if you look at what's happened so far, it's been, we want to ban out Schönfire completely. You look at those most banned champions, 4 of them were junglers, making sure that he doesn't have any comfort, but he says, I don't care, I'll still get Exodia, right? So I think that's a lost avenue, trying to look to punish Schönfire. On the flip end, Bliss have really had Harry targeted, right? The Yone, the Akadi, the LeBlanc. So if there is going to be a little luxury thrown towards Fido, I would expect them to keep true and make sure that Harry is a little bit uncomfortable. But I'm not sure where you'd look to try and target Ground Zero because we've spoken about them at great lengths in the past, right? They are so well-versed in every single lane. What is the biggest threat for them? Is it as simple as saying, no Camille, all right, we're happy? Or do you say we need to try and ban out some bot laners to make sure that, Violet Eladoric get to excel a little bit earlier? So I'm very curious to see what the approach is from Bliss and, if it actually evolves as the best of 5 goes on.
That's it, because at the same time, like all of these players have fantastic players, I guess is probably what I'm trying to say is they're all star potential. They all have the capacity to carry the game. You can sort of it's like the Hydra metaphor we did for Ground Zero. You can pull off one head, but there's still 4 more heads you have to worry about because they all have it in them, which is what's going to bring me to my next little thing I'm going to bring up is just some KDAs, the top KDAs in the league, and see how these teams have sort of fared, and maybe we got some of them, and it is all the 2 teams we've got tonight. And Kevy's looking so good at 11.7 tally. That's hard to follow.
I think this is telling. I always like to take away, a story or what these teams really do when you see, numbers like this and stats. And I think this is really telling that, Shone is on those majors and he's farming all the time, right? He's not really participating in these skirmishes that are happening. He's just, oh, you guys are fighting on bot side. I'm stealing away camps. I'm stealing away objectives. I'm getting that huge lead on my champion to carry in these team fights. But, Bliss, grouping up with that jungle support duo, playing around Harry, who's been the most successful point for this team and enabling him to, really carry. And that's why we see so much kill participation and really high KDAs for the 3 members of Bliss.
Well, yeah, anything from this, Skimmy, that you want to point out or that you're really excited to see?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of individual performance, Kevy's certainly been really, really strong. If you actually compare some of his early game stats to Schönfire in terms of getting ahead in the jungle, getting the experience, making sure that his damage per minute is pretty high, I would say he's been doing a phenomenal job to try and match too. I think my biggest point of priority is probably going to be support difference because I think Kurak has been this really, really promising support rookie. Has had a phenomenal year debut. Has had that sort of 20% aura buff where, hey guys, I'm just like a lonely Leona, come gank me, hang on a minute, I've survived. But Aladoric has been around for so many times and his whole definition of that career has been, I just win. So I'm really curious to sort of see, outside of the regular season, if we get to see that true playoff performance once more from him.
That's all we want. That's exactly what we want, in fact. And you know what I want, guys? You know what's really on the tantalize my taste buds right now?
What's that?
Is Harry joining us on the desk. Off Team Bliss. Look at this man.
Hello.
He's primed, he's ready, his bed's made, he knows what he wants, and it's a 3-0 series. Isn't that right, Harry?
Yep. I think it will be a 3-0 series, so I'm confident.
Ooh. That's the confidence we like to hear. That's exactly it. Now, I wanted to ask you as well, mate. You've come off playing a couple games just before Ground Zero. They sort of went straight through and they haven't played this week. Do you think that's going to put you in a favorable time tonight?
Yeah, I do think the 2-0 series versus Antic certainly gave us a confidence boost, and I guess they will have information about what we played, right? The draws we played versus them, but I don't think that matters. And I think going to the Ground Zero series, I think just as a whole team, we're feeling really confident.
Yeah, nice. So you guys been prepping a little bit? You've been sort of experimenting with some different play styles, different comms, looking to different regions even, and trying to source as much as you can?
Yeah, we've actually been doing some VOD reviews on like major regions and just like looking at how other teams play. And I think just we're just working on like playing playing on the same page, because I think that's our biggest weakness right now. Like I think individually we're playing really well, but like just like the mid to late game, I think we've been a little shaky. So yeah, I think past week that was our main focus.
I love that. Love that, Skimmy. They're
Yeah, me
feeling
too.
ready, I
Me
can feel
too.
it.
And I suppose, Harry, like we were looking at some of the stats before, comparing both teams. A lot of those bans have been
Yep.
directed to you in particular, right? Removing some of those flex champions, be it the Yone, Order LeBlanc. And whilst we've had so much AD in the mid lane to allow these AP junglers, the last game you played up against Antic was the Orianna, which I think caught a lot of people off guard, right? Thinking surely Orianna doesn't fare too well in this meta. Is that just like another layer of like, you've got to consider that in the back of your mind now that, look, we could play like an Orianna Nocturne, or we could play like a delivery ball system of some kind, and you can't ban me out, basically.
Yeah, I think Orianna, there's not much presence in the other regions, but I do think, it's one of my comfort champs, and it works well with like Kevin's AD champions. So like, it's not just the AD mids that like teams need to worry about. I think it's also like the mages that, I can show that I can play. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see what you bring out today.
Awesome. And Harry, I guess I want to ask, because, I think we see a lot of these other teams in the LCO draft, what we'd consider the best champs in every role, and sometimes they don't really work together, right? They just draft good champions, but not so much team comps. But we constantly see you guys always drafting champs that work together well, even though they aren't the respected best picks in the role. So I want to know, do you value the, the ease of execution when it comes to these, best of series, or do you think that, it's always just better to go for those best champions and best drafts?
I do think in playoffs, like we are leaning more to the comfort, because I think at the end of the day, if you just play champions we're really comfortable on, like in each role, even if like our team comp balance is like slightly worse, I do think we'll just play better on the champions. So yeah, I think we're focused on comfort right now.
Biopanther Dr. Mundo, guys, I heard it.
I
It's coming, it's
calling
coming.
it out. All right. God damn, it's Dr. Bio coming into the house. I like it. Well, Harry, mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed you can get that Yone for me, because I've been watching back your VODs on Yone, and I've been like, yep, all right, I can play Yone like that. Wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely can't. But, mate, good luck tonight. We're rooting for you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
See, me and Harry didn't wave. You guys waved. That's an omen right there, Tally.
No 3-0s. No 3-0s allowed
3-0s?
tonight. Bad. Forbidden.
But
That means
I
it's a 3-2
really,
now, though, surely.
yeah, 3-2. I really liked your question there, Tally. I think that was very, like, that struck a chord with me, being like, okay, do you go back to like comfort, but because they know they're so proficient as players, you can afford to go a little bit more comfort. But do you think Ground Zero has the same level as that? Is maybe my question for you.
I'd say yeah. I definitely say
Decent
yeah.
top.
I think that, because we keep seeing, like, double 80 carries in the mid and the bot lane position, but these champs don't enable each other, right? Whereas, we see Bliss have played the control mage in the mid, which then allows the 80 carry to have more uptime just from, CC and presence in team fights. And that's what I really meant with that, ease of execution and the enabling that we are seeing from Bliss team comps. Whereas, Ground Zero constantly just drafting, strongest champ mid, bot, jungle, and then they just play well as a team and they make that work.
Like, I'm sorry, I had to take a second to think about it. I'm just like, wow, like, what could they actually draft? Because again, we know Tien loves the Camille. How does Camille go into like something like a Mundo, which we have seen in solo queue? I think it's been going nuts and it's crazy. But like, isn't Mundo like the counter to Camille?
No,
like,
okay.
That's the problem.
I have a really funny story with this one, actually, because everyone always really considered Camille like the counter to Mundo back in the day, just because, you have true damage, you just have sustain in those fights. But I remember there was a scrim where I had Top Rune versus Bio in that exact matchup, and he picked the Camille as a counter to Mundo, but Bio solo killed him, and then Top Rune was just like, Dr. Mundo can win, guys. He can win. He was really coping with that one. So we've always said it's a pretty even matchup. I think that Bio is very comfortable on that champion into a lot of champions. So if he does pull it out tonight, I would be very excited to see it.
Well, we might be putting a little bit of sauce into the pot right now as we're waiting to see what they could be pulling out. But we have someone else on the line. It is the man, always on fire, burning a hole in my heart. It is Shernfire joining us on the desk. Mate, oh, you must be feeling good for tonight.
Ooh,
Yes.
the general salute.
That's right. That's
Mate, like,
right,
you're going up
boys.
against Team
We're ready.
Bliss. You ready? Like, okay, how ready though? Like, out of 10, if you had to give us a 1 to 10, 1 is you're gonna flop, 10 you're gonna crush them.
6.5. But the thing is, all the prep's done. We're here now. It's about performing. It's not about how I feel.
Well, now I want to coattail off Tally's original question. He said that both you, Ground Zero and Bliss are quite good. You're all exceptional players, far above, I would say, everyone else. How does your team look to draft when it does come down to like comfort picks versus like the strong meta picks? Like, does Ground Zero have a bit of a preference?
Yeah, definitely. I think in this meta, you're allowed to actually have a style because so many champions fit the same slot in terms of what they do. But there's just so many picks you can play, but they fulfill the same role. So yeah, definitely. One tricks.
Ooh. Okay, Skimmy. I'm learning. I'm evolving. I'm a host now. I can do it.
Well, that's it. I suppose my question to you, Shane, is how have you found this split in particular? Obviously, a lot of AP champions. It's easy for them, navigate the Brand, the Karthus, the Lilia, whatever it may be. But I remember, especially when you came back originally to the LCO, it was a case of just Xin, Viego, whatever it may be, relentlessly gank bot, level 3 every single time, and it just worked without fail. So is there a preference that you've had, or has it been quite nice to actually just turbo farm all day, get every objective, and just, be a carry yourself?
I think every player convinces themselves that they can play like every sort of meta, and I'm the same. Like, I believe I can play Sejuani and all these other champions when it's broken, but honestly, if you look at the past in my records, it's probably right that this is my patch. Like, jungle EXP boss, man, too easy.
It's living the dream.
Also,
I had that dream, the Tally.
Thank you. Okay, Shern, I guess I want to know, so far throughout the entire regular season, you guys have stuck to this one style, that you had so much success on and makes you look really specifically strong in your jungle role. But I want to know, tonight, Bliss as a team have probably, recognized that, and a lot has been happening behind the scenes in scrims that we as viewers don't know about. Do you think that this team is, prepared, or is this the kind of roster that can, push you off that style, make you really change up your dynamic as a team?
No, I don't think so. Like, being honest, I think it's funny that the way they play the game and the way we've been screwing, they're just trying to find counters and niche picks into what we're doing. So I think they're more one-dimensional than us, even though we seem to be one-dimensional on the outside.
Awesome. All right, I'm excited to see you play tonight.
I'm so excited. Well, Shane, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Good luck tonight. We're shooting for you. Just burn up that riff for me, baby. You got it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, boys.
No wave.
Didn't wave.
No wave. Only salute.
I got the
when
salute,
Shern
though.
comes on.
It's fine.
kind of got me though. Like, I was a little bit nervous, but I thought he was doing like sort of like finger guns too. He's just like, then I was like, oh my god.
He says aura.
Like, jeez, he's coming for me.
does have
It's
aura.
the presence, man. It's just the presence. But no, let's have a look at a little bit more and see where these teams are feeling. But I don't know what they're really feeling, Skimmy. I don't know what's going on, because this is the previous games that we got. And let's break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, bit of a different meta, bit of a different patch, right? 14-11, way back in week number 4 now. But you saw glimpses from that highlight package where we had the Spice in that Zac as well as that Nasus. But I'm quite curious to see what the approach will be, right? Where we are going to get any gambles of double AP junglers to try and match in terms of farm, speed, and carry clear, or if we will just get the trade-off like Shern mentioned, where they're going to stick to their guns. It's going to be Bliss always scrambling to try and find an answer. And that same kind of conversation, what does it mean for side select? Does blue or red then have a higher priority? Because whilst it's been blue all the time, generally during the regular season, the underdog was then going for red to try and find that counter pick. Do Bliss themselves envision themselves as an underdog coming into this, and do they really value that counter pick for Bio, for Harry, or for Aladoric?
Well, you brought it up, and it is the side select that we can get up for your screen right now to see where these teams are starting to go, which it is Ground Zero getting it because they were the upper bracket, and then they've picked blue side Tally. Again, not really a big surprise. I think they've got priority picks in mind. Do you have any idea what they could be, though, still?
There is a lot going on, and I think that I want to echo Shern's sentiment where he said that he doesn't really view their team as being one-dimensional, and I think that is a very true statement, just because, even though they are only playing AP junglers, AD mid laners, the game does change when, if you play a Fiddle jungle, all of a sudden very different game to a Karthus jungle or a Brand jungle, or if you're playing in the Moo, very different to a very different game once again. Same with the mid lane, having a Tristana compared to a Corki. Very different game, and I think that it really changes, your early game, mid game, and late game strength. It changes what you look like as a team, and Ground Zero have just played all of this to a very high level, and I think it is quite hard to counter.
Hard to counter, hard to be able to do anything against both these teams, so there's going to be so many options, but there's so many other options that you could do right now. Lol jokes, it's actually just putting in your Twitch points just up there. That's your only option. You don't get a say in this now. I'm telling you, put in your Twitch points, support the favorite team. Who's going to get the dub? We'll have to find out, but we got our own predictions as well. Skimmy and Tally, let's have a quick look at where these teams are sitting. And I know I've got some spicy picks lined up for you because, ooh, everyone, I love that. Everyone's gone Harry. That makes a lot of sense. Skimmy, you're sort of feeling a little bit more on the fence this time too. And actually, Tally, I'd probably say you're a little bit more on the fence, but I was very bold this time. It's very bold.
We are, I'd say we're very similar, right? You know, I think we're all leaning the same way, right? You know, but we are varying based on how much we're leaning to that same direction. But I think it's telling. I think that, you know, all these players are, you know, quite, evened up in the skill level, but I think that experience is what really counts for me. You know, when we look at Aldork versus Kurak, I think Kurak has had an amazing trajectory for a, you know, first-year player, and we haven't really seen him falter. But Aldork just has that, you know, veteran advantage. He just has so much experience in these scenarios, in these best of fives. You know, and then the counterpart for bot lane, I think that Lima's performance this split has been, you know, second to none. You know, he's on a career high right now. It's really hard to go past him, but at the same time, this is, you know, Violet. So I do not want to go too heavily towards Limas. I also do not want to go too heavily towards Aldork in the bot side, just because I think that this entire bot lane, this dynamic that will happen is going to be quite, you know, heavily, what's really going to decide this series for me.
It's why I went actually quite neutral between, right? Like the bot lane and top lane, because I think Tien's having a career high too, while Spypanther is one of the most successful, still active top laners there. So yeah, I'm thinking it's a balance of, like, you know, what's working really well for you at this stage versus what's worked for you well in the past, and sort of retaining those levels as well. But yeah, it is interesting that we all went for Harry. I think, yeah, for him individually is the engine behind them. And yeah, I'm sort of keen to see if it'll ring true again tonight.
Well, talking about trains, choo-choo! Let's get into game, boys. Take it away.
Ooh. Beautiful. Rushing and racing our way into this one. And as mentioned before, it's going to be Ground Zero playing from the blue side. And they'll ban away the Orianna, not a champion we would have expected to see in the first three.
I think that's just a respect ban to Harry. He just looked too strong on this champion and is, you know, quite a hard one to deal with. Especially as a, Shenpai playing these junglers who aren't really known for ganking, but Skimmy, straight away, game one, best of 5, Ground Zero Bliss, we do have the Zyrakan in the bot lane.
We certainly do. So happy to see that one back in action. Raze, where are you? We need it back when you next play as well, because we love this combo. It gets so much done. Xayah always seems like that playoff safety champion. And, well, you can never look past Aladoric on this Rakan.
And this is exactly what you need to do in a best of series. You need to pull out something crazy in game 1, and then all of a sudden, if they do pop off of this, and we do on a game 2, with the Zyrakan being left open, potential answer again, but also Ground Zero might have to respect ban this if it's too impactful, because looking at their bans right now, Skimmy, the Rumble ban we see coming out of them on both sides, and the Sejuani Ori bans as respective, you know, denials towards Bliss and what they are strong on, but I really like this answer coming out of Ground Zero. We haven't really seen the center being meta since, you know, that week 4 that we saw as their last matchup. We didn't really think we were going to see this one come out again, but having that support who can farm and be the strong frontline really denies a lot of the kill pressure that Zyra can't have.
Exactly right. I mean, it's literally 1 month to the day when we last saw that that center come out to play. It was played by Limas, funnily enough. So it's good to see it come back into life. And for what we remember of that, Limas really keen to leave that lane as quickly as he can. Didn't really care about the farm. Was much more of a second support roaming with that Nautilus. And like we said also with the bans, right, they've always gone for the Rumble ban, no matter what, blue or red. Clear indication they want to make sure that Shenpai is always that isolated AP threat.
Yeah, and I like the read by Bliss. I think we've seen the mistake from a lot of teams in the past, where they triple ban Shenfire. I think it is impossible to ban out Shenfire. Like, number 1, his champion pool is too large, and number 2, he's just played the game for too long, and he just has too much experience on so many different, AP champions. So I think that, you know, throwing it towards the Zyra, getting rid of that Apex jungler that is probably his best pick on the batch right now is nice, and then getting rid of the champions who function well in the game that, you know, make Shenpai stronger overall is just a much better approach to denying who they think is the best player on that team right now.
Yeah, which was my main question coming into this one, right? Would they still look to try and ban away Shenpai? And on the flip side, what will Ground Zero do? And initially, you'd say 2 bans have gone towards Harry, and whilst the latter half of the ban phase has favoured Shen having a few of those Apex champions removed off the table, a much more balanced overview, saying that you know, both all 10 players in their very own right can certainly steal the spotlight when called upon. What's it going to be then for that 5th and final ban from GZ? Another mid lane, you would assume, but they would need some AP.
Do you think, Skimmy, that we haven't really seen Harry go for that volatile mid lane matchup, but this is a skill matchup of the Sylas versus Tristana. You do have the potential steal away that, Null Assault, which is so impactful into these double 80 carry comps. You already see the point-and-click ult coming out of Kevy. The RA being denied means that, that really strong 2v2 kill pressure onto Fido is denied. So what does Harry really want to take away here? Because, it's most likely going to be a mage in the mid lane. And, if not, could just be that Yone and allow Bayern to have that 5p counter pick top of the mage of his choice.
Incredible. Well, I was wondering, knowing that Harry's most played champion in his career has been Yazir, whether or not there's a world in which that would come out to play. We've seen it certainly in the last few days come back into the spotlight, but his Yone is really second to none. So the Cassante is going to be the blind pick then by Tien as he anticipates an AP threat, whether that be the Zac, for instance, even more engaged, or potentially a cheeky Kennen too.
And Schoenfeier's brand's been left up. The enemy team is a full dive comp. They are low range, and that is, the time for him to shine the champion. And I think we're probably just going to see something like a Kennen come out of Bipenta on the 5p, but instead, they're going for the full dive skimmy. They have the red team comp, the full Skinergy already with the base skin line, so no AP coming out of this team. They do have that mixed damage from the Ornn and the Yone. There is no... The nice thing about these comps, Skimmy, when you play dive comps, you don't really worry too much about your damage threshold or your damage spread because you are killing the backline who do not have resistances. And if they do remove the Senna, the Tristana, and the Brand from the game, even though Cassante might be a bit of a monster with a lot of armor stacked up, he is going to be in that 1v5, 1v4 scenario, and he cannot outplay that one.
And I think the concern that many people might be thinking about, remembering all the way back to week 4, is during that initial game up against Granzer, it was Schoenfeier playing the Brand. He did go 0-5 at the initial point. And Team Bliss did a very mixed comp, right? Less dive on that occasion, but fumbled the bag, had a 10k lead, threw it all away. Schoenfeier got to utilize, well, you're also close combat. My ultimate gets to bounce around, and that was their ticket back in. And whilst you would draw some similarities between that and what you see today, there is so much more dive that it's a case of we don't actually care because we probably killed you before you've had a chance to, cycle through those cooldowns anyway.
Yeah, and that's that main thing. I think that in the early, mid-game, I think the 1-2 items, before we get to that third item, is the major power spike we're going to really see for the Ground Zero comp. But a lot of these all-in comps are really strong in the early mid-game, coming up to the, level 13, 14 mark. I think after that point, when there is that the Zhonya's on Schoenfeier, when there is a Bloodthirster on Fido, when, Limus does have a huge amount of stacks and he can play it from that range, it's going to be much harder to dive this backline. And Schön is the main proponent of this comp. If he does get that passive spreading among the Bliss members, it's going to be doing so much damage and so much disruption.
Well, here we go, Tally. Let's waste no further time getting into this one. This is the rematch of all rematches in Split 1's playoffs in this very position in a best-of-5 qualifying for the PCS. It was Ground Zero that triumphed. They took out the series 3-1. And as the current reigning champions, they'll be looking to try and do it all over again, make it the perfect year for GZ. And yeah, one extra stamp on that passport. As for Bliss, that defeat ultimately meant they didn't make it through, dropping in the lower bracket. So they've got a lot to prove to salvage 2024. And
something I want to note from a player's perspective, Skinny, right now is, while this is not the grand finals, you would consider that the really big, event, right, of the split. I think this is probably in their minds the the more important series because this is that first qualifier towards the PCS, and that is a sigh of relief that you do get when you win this series. So I think that we're probably going to see a lot more energy going towards this best of 5, as this is going to be the first meeting between these guys throughout the split, and not a lot is known between what happens on stage between these teams besides that one series we did have in week 4. So I really expect to see an extremely good series tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had a lot of conversations with the players throughout the regular season, right? And a lot from the Bliss camp was that we're experimenting with new things. Things do look a little bit unrefined at the moment. There's never been a doubt of our mechanics. Our skill is always going to be there, but we want to make sure that we come into a playoff scenario where we're not thinking, hang on a minute, we don't actually have the answer to X, Y, or Z. So whilst there were certainly some worrying concerns to start off the season, I think they've really come into their own. Hence why, if you look at the last 8 games played by either side, it's just WWW.
Absolutely, just a little bit of a browser input there, but we do see, action happening in the bot lane already. Zyrakan, not really the old combo you remember where they start with that W and they can find that all in. They are, more of a level 3 duo now. Before they really need all their spells to be able to link up and find kill pressure. But Limus playing his range extremely well, and this is the advantage of this lane. You can never really go on the Norlis, as he does have the Aftershock, he does have the shield, he is extremely tanky before you get to that, Kraken Slayer, where you have your main DPS. Limus is the kill angle they want, and without, jungle intervention, is very hard to find, and with both junglers matching paths down, Schoenfeier is just going to be that extra bit faster, and he's going to be able to get to the river before Kevy is.
That he certainly will. And I'm curious also on your talking point about some of these win conditions. You mentioned that a couple of items might be the break point on which you see all the action really start to kick off. But I look at Bliss in particular and say at level 6, 5 champions that absolutely love it when their ultimate's up and available, and very keen to showcase, you know, one item or not, we're going in.
Yeah, and something to note here is that Kevy has skipped his wolves. He is looking for the aggression there. Just some trading going on mid lane, but don't really expect Harry to go down. But blowing his flash early is not something we really see out of this player, Skimmy. He's usually very well controlled in this matchup, but this is the strength of the year and going to be able to stay around and make sure he is comfortable. But I was going to mention that Kevy skipped his wolf camp, was looking for that early gank onto bot side because of, you know, Ground Zero pushing so heavily. But they use that priority, they walk in the jungle, they throw a ward down, they throw the, you know, the sweeper, they know where he is. So all of a sudden, Kevy's tracked in the early game and he suddenly lost his window to get a gank before that first base.
That he certainly has, and as you mentioned as well, the water's down there, so in case he tries to be clever, they'll be fully aware of it, and it gets the free passage in for Schoenfighter, so we have no idea where I am, but I can do as I please. Lots of aggression in that straight 2v2. As they get up and rowdy, and you can see there, make sure to type in watch party in the chat and get yourself at LAN. Basically, go to Fortress, hang out with some mates. What would you say? Beers, bevies, what was it? Bevies, boys, and esports.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm trying to remember your slogan.
Boys, bevies, and B sports. I mean, good enough.
B sports, yeah. Oh, dearie me. But the talking point I wanted to mention is, like, it's been very rare in these initial levels that we've actually seen Harry punished in a Tristana matchup. He's played it so many times. We go, yeah, look, Yone doesn't do too well. But then he hits level 5, he gets the Berserker Greaves, he starts to win. It's probably the first time where Fido said, you know what, I'm not going to let you get away with that one and force out the flash.
Yeah, really nice to see that Fido is, you know, winning these early lanes because he was struggling so hard, especially into players who wouldn't be, you know, considered on the same level as Harry. So all of a sudden, playing against what we would consider the best mid laner in the league right now and doing really good individually. So good to see Fido creating advantage for his team and, you know, really stepping up where it matters. But this is the strength of Yone, right? You do have so much to say in the lane, so you can go for these really unoptimal trades and still come out on top. But Schoenfire, like, once again, always trying to invade, always trying to find camp timings. And Kevy forced to blow his flash earlier because he went for that trade onto Schoenfire when he did not have any priority.
And he certainly did. Schoenfire being even more so than the Menace. It's a bit of a denial, a bit of a thief, taking away so much in the end. There's the set of route connects. Alador then jumps it in and says, you know what? You think you got the CC? We just have more. Limus hiding in the shadows. The flash, the barrier, it denies it all. The flash again to follow. And a single auto attack is required. Out of range was Violet. So it gets taken by Aladoric in the end. Kevy's under siege. He's been tracked from the top half of his jungle to the bottom. And Harry tries to wrap around, but Fido's just too quick to respond. And it's not time yet. Kurak's even a chance to get back to delay the reset back to base.
A lot to break down there. I'm sure we might get to see the replay on the initial engage for bot lane, but this is just a snowball when we look at the jungle department right now of what Kevy did in the early game. You know, he went for that trade onto Schoenfire when he had no kill pressure, no priority. That cost him the flash. Schoenfire got a base off, has a full item completed, and found Kevy out on both these camps, but this is just Kurak walking up with, you know, waits out the aftershock, and this is, you know, such a mistake when it comes to these matchups. You can't, you know, you want to deny the trading, right? You never want to be the one aggressing, because when you lose that aftershock and that shield, all of a sudden, the rip back on the feathers, which was buffed, is going to find, you know, a lot of damage, and this could have been that potential double kill going towards Violet, but Alador secures that one because there is a lot of pressure right now.
It certainly was. Yeah, Kevy here. So much frustration about the fact that Schoenfire's not only full clearing, but he's also able to get a gank off as well. That tracking has worked two-time for them now. Bit of a CS advantage found in his regard. Bot lane now able to look at these objectives. Dragon now being considered. And as has been the case, they go for the Dragon, whilst Ground Zero then go for the grubs. Spyro's looking to try and trim this wave as Limus is on that classic roam, flash away to safety, and the threat is extinguished. Let's then check in with Styx on the side of Iron to see where he reckons this one will go. Reckons it will go the distance of all 5 games, but Team Bliss should eke out the advantage in Game 5. So, yeah, despite Ground Zero having that perfect run, still believes that, you know, Bliss so capable to bring it across the finishing line.
Yeah, nice to see that it is a split of predictions from our, you know, professional analysis, so that's good to hear. Kevy is looking for that gank onto mid though, no level 6, and there is the 3 members from Ground Zero coming in quickly.
Fate Sealed is so absolutely fantastic. Rocket Jump was buffered, but not clean enough. Gets locked
Kevy's
in place,
in
burns the flash. In comes Schoenfire, looking to lock him down with that stun, passive burn, and there it is. Harry, soul unbound, tries to salvage something. He tries to get Fido, and he's successful in the end, but he will die as a result of that one. And what do you do when you have 3 members in your lane at only 7 minutes?
This is exactly what we expected to see, right? We see that lane deployment. Limus goes to the top side, they secure the grubs, whereas we reduce the dragon trade, but Kurak being found on the bot side does have the Arshop this time, Skimmy, so he's quite tanky.
Oh my god, Kurek may just be the greatest support player in the league. He's 1v2'd beyond belief. You're thinking he's dead, you're thinking there's no way he survives. Simple ult knock-up because he has the solo experience. And he takes down Aladoric as well. Now Violet's under threat. Limus looking to try and trim the wave, wait for the root to connect. It doesn't. He sidesteps it. Nope, sticks around by the minion, says, well, you know, if I'm going down swinging. Kurek flashes away. Barrier comes out by Violet. He hides in the alcove and says, you can't spot me. And Ground Zero are playing it flawlessly.
It's not enough mana, and Kevy once again being invaded by Schoenfire. Still no flash, and it will be him going down again.
Dawning Shadow to pick up an assist from the bot lane by Limus as well. Very nicely for him. Just literally hit level 6 off that play. And yeah, Ground Zero very quickly putting up the pace and saying 1,500 gold lead this early on.
And Schoenfire is on the board. Most farm on his team. Leandry's completed at 8 minutes. Most farm in the game, sorry. So he is having a monster performance so far. And back to my points, when we saw that map split, we saw Ground Zero prioritizing the grubs and the top side with, you know, Limus rotating up there. We did see in the earlier weeks how he was just leaving lane, running around the map to find as many souls as possible. And it's just so hard for, you know, Bliss to answer in response, because they can't dive this Nort without the help of Kevy. And even if they did look to do that, that is a full AD bot side diving onto a tank with tabbies. Such a tanky champion.
So tanky. Would have thought they had enough with the Blade Caller rip back on the aggro, but yeah, the elusive nature once again. Kurek may just have to get a special award designed for him. The world's best beta, I suppose, or something along those lines. How many times has he done this entire split where people think it's just a support, it should be a freebie? He always defies the odds.
Would you say he's a master at it, Skimmy?
He could be a master, maybe even a prodigy.
Ooh, very interesting. Do see a lot of action happening in the mid lane though, Skimmy. Both teams grouping up. Limus does have both summoners here.
That he certainly does, but will he decide to use them? He goes for the flash initially into the waiting arms of Schoenfire. Off on that ramp by the chickens that he will claim. As they'll look towards that next objective and say, well, it's a 2-minute away for the second Drake. First, obviously, being claimed by Bliss, but everyone might just want to chill out a second. 60 seconds on the grubs. The real question for me, Tally, is do Bliss feel the need to lane swap to match?
I believe we're going to see that. I think we're going to see the bot lane base from Bliss and match the top side with, you know, by having that TP to respond if that does happen, because I think if they do stay in these lane states with Kurek on that bot side, he is going to be able to clear out these waves and really deny any dive happening. So, you know, giving over the 6 grubs, especially the Fido on that Tristana, could be a mistake, especially to Schoenfire is so much stronger right now, but Schoenfire walking to bot lane, going to be here for potential all-in and also to make sure that they do get priority screen, but it doesn't matter because Aladoric just found out and will go down.
Beautifully done, fantastically coordinated, the ultimate synchronization. You just can't ask for much more than that one. Ground Zero sneaking their way into the lane. Aladoric thinking, well, it's my time to shine. A hook, a stun, and a knock-up thereafter, and really, what can you do?
What can you do? I think at the moment, whatever this brand goes, Bliss really needs to avoid because he is an absolute monster. He's a very scary man, especially when you look at the item difference in the jungle right now. Just components versus a completed item. And Shern, that solo AP champion who is being enabled, does have this tier 2, so he's even faster now. Wherever he goes is lights out for Bliss, especially in this early game right now.
And it certainly has been a bit of frustration for Kevy, thinking, well, where do I look to try and apply some pressure to get myself back into this game because I'm falling further and further behind on those camp clears. And I need some gold. I need an item and I need a gank target, and I'm just unable to find it so far. But there is that rotation, as we mentioned. 4 members of Bliss committing towards it, denying the perfect 6 stack of those grubs and making sure that Bliss, Ground Zero can't just continue to run the map and do as they please. Tien's going to pop his head into this one, despite being 40% right off the bat. And Bliss say, well, what are you doing? They turn initially towards him, having claimed 2 grubs. They'll take him off the board as well. Out goes the Call of the Forge God, and Bio's really not long for the world. He's forced to back away to the fountain under 20 seconds. And the biggest winner might just be Violet, who sat in bot lane getting plates.
Only got himself that 1 plate though, and this, you know, second plate might fall down because there is TPs on the side of Ground Zero. Probably going to be a TN waiting for that teleport to come off cooldown and then match on the bot side. But I think there was a bit of hesitation from Bliss there. They grouped up. They did find Shern without flash in the river, but decided not to commit for it. They wanted to just get the grubs and leave, but after a while they decided to turn onto Tien instead of leaving, and that was what left them susceptible to Schoenfire walking up and throwing that ult, throwing out all that AoE he has and just completely blowing up that team.
So incredibly fed is Kurek at this stage as well. Bear in mind, he's 3-1, running the TP. They're going to have 3 TPs to work with to the 2 that Bliss have instead. And it's been a bit of a menace, always keeping you know, those lane states in their favor. Once again, Harry's siege. Oh, this time the stun didn't connect, so the flash away to safety is perfect. And I think this is going to be the theme of this entire series here, Tally. Harry is not going to have a fun time.
Yeah, there is just a lot of action, and this is what we expect from our top teams. We do see jungle support from both sides grouping up and doing so much together, but the side of Ground Zero just has so much strength thanks to Schönfire and Bliss, a team who really wants these dragons. This one is going to be going over to Schönfire pretty comfortably, but they are grouping up to contest this. Do get the TP out of Kurak, and you know, with that knowledge coming in, with the Frozen Heart almost being completed, he is the frontline. Schönfire really needs to take over this game.
That he certainly does. Needs somebody to step up and allow more of the space, just to literally say, well, I can complement your CC. All I need is that initial target and that initial ability to get the ball rolling. 2-0-4, Leandri's in pocket, Salk Boots there as well. Now, finally, matched by Kevy with the Sundered Skies. That's going to help him out just a fraction. And he'll certainly need a little bit more than those fractions to add up because, yeah, Ground Zero have not let it foot off the gas. They continue to step forward, and with a control ward in this bush as well, they might be setting up yet again another cheeky lane gank.
Schönfire just walking in, going to siege his turret with the team, as we do see the you know, rotation from Fido as well, thanks to the mid priority from the early enabling from his support and jungler right now. So Ground Zero just doing a really good job to play between the lanes and make sure they have some control, and Schönfire always being around these you know, respawns of camps and getting the crabs, getting the grubs, probably going to be getting that Rift Herald as well in 30 seconds if he does want that one, but really easy for him to just sit bot and continue to siege this one, especially since Violet does not have that ult to get out of any engage.
Yeah, burnt the Featherstorm very early on beforehand, making sure he took 0 damage from the Pillar of Flame, trimmed the wave at the very same time and looked to try to deter it, but Ground Zero said, well, maybe we can just wait for the next wave to come on through, have another stab in the dark, and see how much pressure we can continue to apply. All the wards littered throughout that river from top to bottom, but Schön won't seem to mind. He'll walk and say, well, you know I'm here, but what are you going to really do about it to stop me?
Yeah, what can you really do? Schönfire's just going to walk across the map, follow Kevy on all these camps, and pretty much fight him wherever he wants, because he just has pride in all these lanes, and the only real threat onto him is the, you know, when he doesn't have flash, when he can get picked out. But also something I want to note this means we did have a soul stack check on Lemus, and he was at, you know, 72 at the 14-minute mark, and this is what I was talking about when it comes to, you know, 5 souls per minute is equivalent to having 10 CS per minute on the champion. So he is on the clock, and this champ is extremely strong for this point in the game.
So strong, and also bear in mind, 4 Ninja Tabbies, double Cracker Slayer, Frozen Heart done, Ground Zero at their peak performance already 14 minutes into this one, and so that Herald, you'd be daft, Bliss, to try and contest us here.
I think it would probably be a mistake for the straight up 5v5 to come out, but we are seeing the complete items for pretty much everyone besides Harry right now in the inventory. If they do land the CC onto Sherm, well, you know, Aladoric with that flash engage, he could die in one rotation. He does a lot of damage, but he's not extremely tanky. And if they do find the Ground Zero members being split, they can find that engage, but also it's extremely hard because they're such a disciplined roster.
Well, he's just picked up the Blade of Rune King. He will be late to this fight as Bliss group up as 4, but just hug that bush in the river. They will witness the Herald fall on down, and that's going to be claimed by Ground Zero nice and slowly, but all the same in the end. As Bliss will say, yeah, not having the right members in the right time, it's not worth taking the risk. But instead, Kevy says, hang on a minute, I found Schönfire. He's completely isolated. Let's all dive on top of him. And the shutdown is claimed. It does go to Aladoric, which is a bit of a tragedy, but it's a kill all the same.
It's the kill all the same, and he is taken off the map. His clear speed's denied. He is not full clearing over again, which is what he wants to be doing, but he does maintain his flash, right? So he still can, you know, operate in these next team fights. So that I was talking about. That is what I was talking about, Skimmy, right? They didn't even have their main damage threats there. That was pretty much just Kevy and Aladoric who just solo killed that member of Ground Zero by themselves. Harry coming in with the Fate Seal to secure that, you know, lockdown for his team. But that's the CC I was talking about. He does a lot of damage, but he's not quite tanky. But with that arm guard being completed and being building towards his Zhonya's, he's going to get extremely strong.
He certainly is going to be extremely strong. The stasis effect is going to be certainly a blessing in disguise for him as yet another tower falls on down. The second of the game in favor of Ground Zero. Bliss yet to respond because the pressure has been so overwhelming in all 3 lanes, assisted by the fact that you've essentially got 3 champions at all times from the side of GZ, roaming and rotating. Well, Fido at this stage, despite Schönfire stealing a lot of the spotlight, is actually the most fed in the game so far in Istristan. It's had a phenomenal game 1. Really going to try and answer back from some of the, I suppose, the woes of the last few matches where he has fallen on behind.
Yeah, and it's rare to see a support in the, you know, the top gold graph of the game, right? Correct, already sitting up really high, and it's such an important thing. I think there's quite a hard dive to go for, but there is no tower. Tien could get locked up, but with that all out, can buy some time if he has to, but 4 members from Bliss, Gimme.
Yeah, he is going to go all out, and he is going to try what he can. Dawning Shadow buys him a little bit extra, but it's not to be enough. Violet's going to get that kill confirmation, second in his name, and a nice little pick off there as Bliss look to try and slowly regain control of this map.
And I think we're probably going to see, you know, before those major team fights start to happen, we're going to see Bliss playing a lot to the side lanes and using their numbers advantage before the Lord Dominix does start to come out of Violet. Because you just look at the amount of armor on the enemy team, you know, 4 Ninja Tabbies, you know, second armor item already for Schönfire. You know, Kurak is such a tank. Tien is going to be such a tank as well, so he really needs this item. And it's not such a bad item to get second on Xayah, because you do have that attack speed steroid in the W, and you can really shred these members with that pullback on the E.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're mentioning right from the draft phase. You talked about 2-item spikes being the real difference maker here, but the mitigation could certainly be an easy way for GrandZero to shred things off. And given they already have the lead, it probably feels even better to note that, well, you're going to be really scraping at those savings to figure out what is the most amount of power I can get. Last Whisper's what he can afford, and is what he's going to have to utilize going into the 3rd Dragon Spawn.
But once again, GrandZero has the priority, they have the setup. They do have the teleports on, or both teams have teleports on the members on the top side of the map. So if this was one they want to contest, it is quite hard to force the front to back Skimmy.
Those supports to start things off. Out goes the Call of the Forge God. One man knock onto Kurak, who gets knocked around like a bouncy castle. Alador looks to try and ping pong that one. Blade Caller to take back Tien, who's got the all out again and goes all out on towards Violet. He needs some protection. Force the flash, that's to be matched. And Tofo strikes, drags him back, and Fido across the wall is there to assist. Kevy gets split apart. His ultimate really used to no success in the end. And Team Bliss just getting picked apart. Nobody's been lost by GrandZero. And Tien leads the charge, saying, boys, let's get more.
It's as easy as that, and I do not think we're ever going to see Bliss win up front to back. They're just outrange. All their champs are pretty much, you know, melee or short range minus Xayah, but it is so hard to deal with this team. We'll probably see this one going into the replay, but the fact they just walk in and cop that, you know, Schönfire, all these AoE thrown out, and Violet forced to blow that Feather Storm before anything even happens, right? Just because he needs to avoid the amount of damage going out. Once again, Kurak with that aura, that AoE, you know, usabilities on me absorbs so much damage, and after this point, they use their ability, they're engaged, and there's no kill threat onto Schön or Fido or Lemus, and with these members being alive, it's lights out.
And look how scattered, that's the big thing for me, right? Harry gets completely routed back into the mid lane to try and regroup. Kevy draws himself to the bottom half of the map, and everybody else scurries to the top tier 2. So, dispersed, unfortunately unable to try and find a success, and that was a big concern for us, on top of the fact that they've drafted all this AD. No clear AP threat, whilst you do have the mixed damage. You are so short range, and this brand is going to punish you. Well, Tien, no doubt, is feeling pretty happy about his position in the game. Iceborne Gauntlet, Randa wins as well. And can basically laugh at the Xayah and the Yone combo now.
Yeah, really nice itemization from GrandZero in particular. They do have that one Frozen Heart for the attack speed aura, but then also Tien going for the random ones to reduce, you know, critical strike damage, which is going to come out of the Yone and the Xayah. So they're really punishing the enemy for being, you know, one style of full AD, and, you know, both of these AD champions being crit based. So just really good itemization from both, and the fact Schönfire is going for that Zhonya second instead of, you know, the greedy build, or he has that component so he can sit on that and build something else until it is blown.
Well, let's see, another fight breaks out, this time near the Baron Pit itself. They all once again go into Kurak. Look at him just get knocked up time and time again. He will initially survive it all and might actually still live. They just can't find him. There's something about Kurak. He's just a little bit too clean with it, but Schön showcases that, boys, whilst they're distracted, we can assassinate them, we can jump into the backline. That's exactly where Fido finds himself, deep behind enemy lines. Stuck between two towers, but with the assistance of Shelly, even without a pilot, they're able to take more and more and more.
And the 180 drift on the Rift Tail, but Schönfire using that one to get into the backline and engage there was really nice to see. But once again, Skimmy, Kurak in the front, playing that absorb tank, and this time he's not a support who doesn't have CS, right? He has 2 tank items, and the fact we constantly see teams engage onto him rather than just, you know, poke him and ignore him is the downfall.
It's just comical. We watch it one more time. Look how much time he spends in the air, basically at the skate park, not Summoner's Rift. But yeah, living the luxury of having a fasting center, he gets to be even tankier.
Yeah, just look at he just absorbs so much damage that they're throwing the Ornn ult, they're throwing pretty much the kitchen sink at him. And the whole time Schön is just sitting there on the back lane throughout all his abilities, and all of a sudden he's like, alright, I have cooldowns, hopping in the Rift Herald, diving through the enemy team, knocking up the entire roster, and it's just an easy cleanup for Fido in particular.
That certainly was too easy, too effortless, and lack of a response, really. It's not being without try. Bliss have certainly been pretty relentless in their pursuit of those kills, but very much easier said than done. 22 minutes then, Baron is up and available. Let's run it back right towards that Baron itself. 2-man center route. Not going to stop them just yet, though. Aladoric is waiting for that quickness, about 5 to 10 seconds away, but the Brand Pillar of Flame burns down 3 members. They're already going to come into this one at around 50%. Kevy has little to no HP. He jumps straight into the backline. There is no smite now, down for 35 seconds to Baron. It was never really there for the taking, but Elador tries to find something. It's a one-man charm and an instant jump away.
Look at that brand damage. All he did was press R, Skibby, and it's just been the items ticking the entire time. Shonfire was hitting the Baron, and we just see that DPS continue to go up and up and up and up because he has those double burn items completed. And there's no magic resist on the enemy team, and it's just doing so much destruction to that roster. And it's going to be a 22-minute Baron picked up for Ground Zero. What we thought was going to be a much, more early game favored scenario for Bliss comp.
Yeah, certainly was to be that case, but I think a few blunders in the bot lane, being able to get those kills, the capitalization there has hurt them. The fact that Kevio is tracked as much as he was has put them even further behind, and then all that freedom has allowed them just to lock down Harry in particular and say, 3-man ganks on repeat, good luck playing from here. It's a 10k gold lead now, Telly, with that Baron being picked up, and it's Bliss yet again saying we need to target these sideways, but with the protection of that triple TP setup, it's very easy for Ground Zero to respond.
Yeah, and what can you do? I think this game has really snowballed from, really minor things in early games to me. You mentioned that Kevy was tracked, and that really shut down any early pressure that Bliss could get, and the fact he was tracked means that Shernfire feels comfortable to invade him when that flash was blown, and that really threw the game out of proportion. And the fact that Shernfire got through the early game so comfortably, he's always going to outscale in this scenario and be able to carry these fights like he is now.
That he does again. Once more, Kurak leads the line, takes down the tower, chucks up the hook on CD and says, who dares step up against us because you can't fight us. We've got the Baron, we've got the wallet def, and you've got a fountain that you're going to be having to clutch in just a second. Harry forced to burn that soul unbound, goes on that Fate Unsealed, tries to take something, but the Dawning Shadow gets him critically low, and they yet again are unable to find a kill, even inside their base with the assistance of the laser. It's not there to help them out. 24 minutes on the dot, and Ground Zero absolutely wiped them.
What an utter destruction we have seen this game, Skimmy. This is game 1 of the series, and the fact that Bliss decided to come out with a game plan, Ground Zero ran it back with everything that worked for them, and they have just said, guys, you can't do this against us. It does not work. You need to think of something else and run it back next game.
And how crazy is it, Tally, the fact that we usually talk about these best-of series being a case of game 1, test the waters, a little bit calm, a little bit measured, maybe more macro rather than the aggression. But this one was all out. We know what your game plan is. We've versed you enough both in scrims as well as on stage that you're not going to throw us off with any kind of craziness here today. 24 minutes. They've wrapped it up already. And yeah, they lead at the break, 1-0.